Well, good afternoon to you on this Friday, and welcome into this edition of First Alert Weather Extra. Obviously, if you've been following along at home, maybe already, you probably know what we're looking at here in the screen. But this is actually a live view from the Artemis II mission. We're inside the Orion space capsule here with the astronauts as they are getting ready to splash down into the Pacific Ocean. Splashdown set for 7:07 p.m. our time. That means in about 1 hour and a half from now, about 90 short minutes from now, is when splashdown will occur in the eastern Pacific Ocean, just off the coast of San Diego, California. But some notes coming up. If you've been watching this earlier or on maybe some of our streaming devices or on YouTube directly, where this stream is coming from that we're getting, you may have noticed the Earth was getting closer and closer. As now they're within about 15 to 17,000 miles of the Earth and closing fast as their speed is increasing. The gravitational pull of the Earth pulling them faster, plus they did a burn earlier to increase their speed. A couple of notes: the Orion capsule will actually separate from the service module. That means part of this will not be coming back to Earth. The part that they're in is the piece that obviously will be coming back to Earth. That's the part they'll kind of align themselves, and the heat shield will be exposed to the atmosphere as they streak through the atmosphere at nearly 35 times the speed of sound. They'll go from going over 20,000 miles per hour down to about 19 miles per hour when they splash down in the Pacific Ocean. And that change in speed happens over about a 20-minute period. So imagine that, going from 20-something thousand miles per hour down to less than 20 miles per hour as they slowly splash down into the Pacific Ocean. And just a note, if you're wondering how you can watch this yourself, obviously right here on our streaming devices, we will be doing that. Our Gray Corporate will be doing that. If you want to watch it on television itself, NBC will be providing coverage of that. We will have that on KPLC television. You can go check that out throughout the duration, starting around 6:30 this evening through 7:30. And the astronauts will end up coming back to Houston later on this evening into the Johnson Space Center, and we may hear from them later tonight. I was going to match up the video from NASA to this view of the Earth because a little while ago, meteorologist Max Agano, who's behind me, and I were watching this stream from NASA, and you could see about half of the Earth, because half the Earth obviously is in darkness, and the half that had light, we could make out circulations, and Max and I were talking that, you know, those had to be low pressure systems. And sure enough, I was able to match up the view here on the satellite view to what we were seeing on the NASA feed. And it was interesting that there's actually a tropical system up here kind of north of New Guinea that was very visible on that satellite view. But bottom line, obviously, this is not going to impact them. They are not making a splashdown over there. I'll move the map over to where they will be coming in, and that's off the coast of California. Over here, there's not a whole lot going on. There are some clouds out here off the west coast of the United States in the eastern Pacific, but none of those are going to pose any problems for this splashdown. So good news. The Navy and Air Force folks will be out there to pick them up, Navy especially, to pick them up. Again, you can watch that coverage on our streaming devices or over on television. Now, let's come back here to our part of the world here on the good old Earth. Looking mostly cloudy across southwest Louisiana this afternoon. The visible satellite kind of confirms the same, that there are a lot of clouds over southwest Louisiana. Under those clouds, yep, there are some showers, as one would expect. I told you yesterday I thought we would see some rain today, and this is good news. We need the rain, so it's any day we can get rain this time of the year, especially as dry as we are, is good. The negative and positive. Negative because if you're wanting it to rain, well, it's not moving. Positive because if you are a place where it's raining, that means it's going to keep raining until it rains itself out or slowly moves away. But you can see some of these showers. Southern Vernon, there's some in Beauregard. It will move farther south. There's been some new development, and I do still think there will be new showers that develop between now and sunset. So we are definitely not done with rain just yet. Temperature-wise, because there's clouds and rain, those numbers have been held down into the low to mid 70s in most areas. Temperatures are actually 5 to 10 degrees lower than yesterday. That's cloud and rainfall driven. Obviously, where rain is falling, it's even cooler yet. The winds basically a southerly direction still. Dew points are actually up, though, from yesterday. That's because of persistent southerly winds. Let me show you our Featurecast computer model here, which did a pretty good job today with the rain, showing most of this tapering off after sunset, though I will mention that it is possible some showers linger past 9 or 10 o'clock this evening. We saw that last night with a couple of showers, but I think after midnight, everything's done. Going into first thing tomorrow morning, I realize it's Saturday, but if you have early plans for your weekend, should be good. Very warm temperatures, lower 60s to start off your Saturday. Probably at least some patchy fog out there, so a heads up on that. That should clear fairly quick, and I think we see a lot more sunshine tomorrow than we did today. That's going to push temperatures up by lunchtime, upper 70s near 80, and I do think by the heart of the afternoon, we will climb into the lower 80s for afternoon highs, maybe even a few spots into the mid 80s. If you're looking for a spot to get away from that warm of weather, well, you do have a possibility. Go to the coastline near the Cameron Parish coast. Temperatures will probably be anywhere from 7 to 10 degrees cooler right along the coastline at the beach. High pressure to our east will basically continue to move farther and farther away, but it's going to increase its influence over us and keep the better chances for rain bottled up over Texas the next couple of days. There's nothing to really push those systems in our direction. And going into next week, I don't see much changing with this pattern. So unfortunately, basically, we're going to have to get used to this weather pattern with limited rain continuing over the next probably 10 plus days. As you can see, our 10-day forecast does not really include any significant chances for rain. Now, I do want to be clear, just because there's no chance listed here and I'm saying the chances are limited, they're not zero. The next several days, it's possible one or two very isolated showers could develop, but keyword very, very isolated at best. So all in all, I do not see a problem as far as that is concerned. A look at the marine forecast. Easterly winds tomorrow 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 3. Not too bad. So if you're trying to get out on the boat, should be fine. Best times for fishing look to be around 8:30 in the morning and a good time around 2 p.m. Sunrise tomorrow morning at 6:50 tomorrow morning. And one more check of our 10-day forecast. As you can see, temperatures are in the lower 80s across the area throughout the next 7 to 10 days with very little day-to-day change. And I was just watching while I was talking, the NASA folks, there's a live look once again from NASA television, and they did just get an update from the weather forecast office for the splashdown zone, and they have given them the go to splash down. And that's a live report coming, I believe, from off one of the Navy ships in the recovery area. Once again, this is going to be neat to see. If you're old enough to have been around during the Apollo days with whether it's Apollo 11 or Apollo 13, or maybe you've watched the movie Apollo 13 where they went into a blackout period, this same thing will happen with this Artemis spacecraft as it comes in. There will be about a 6-minute window where there will be no communication with the Artemis spacecraft. That's because of the plasma buildup. That's the heat as it's racing through the Earth's atmosphere. It'll cause plasma buildup around that spaceship, and that will cause it to lose all communication. It's after that where they will splash down into the Pacific Ocean. As I said, we will have that on KPLC television and, of course, right here on our streaming device. And that is definitely a video from our live picture from one of the Navy ships where they will be going out to do the recovery. That splashdown now in less than 90 minutes from now. Well, that's going to conclude things for me. I will see you guys back here, same time, same place on Monday. We'll be back over on television coming up in about 19 or so minutes from now. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Get out and enjoy, and I'll send you back to your regular programming here on your streaming devices.